I never planned on becoming the ghost in my own marriage. Lauren thought I was in Ardmore, Oklahoma, knee-deep in red clay, yelling at a framing crew about out-of-square walls. That's what I let her believe when she kissed me goodbye Thursday morning, coffee breath and Chanel No. 5. Already dressed for the gala she swore was just a boring firm thing. I was actually 35,000 feet above the Red River in a Gulfstream G650. I keep hangered under an LLC she's never heard of, sipping black coffee and watching the Trinity snake beneath me like a silver vein through Dallas's concrete arteries. I own half those arteries. She just didn't know it yet. The Thompson Hotel's rooftop is the new altar of Texas money. Valet guys in white gloves, women in dresses that cost more than most people's trucks, and enough ego in the air to give God a nosebleed. I stepped off the private elevator at 8:17 p.m., wearing a midnight blue Tom Ford peak lapel tux that fit like it was sewn onto me in Italy last month, because it was. I left the contractor's Carhartt and dusty Red Wings in the truck I actually drive when I want to disappear. Lauren was at the head table, radiant in emerald silk, laughing at something Hunter Brooks III was whispering while his palm rested possessively on the bare small of her back. That hand had been there a lot lately. I'd seen the security stills Hunter spotted me first. His eyes flicked down to my boots, Lucchese ostrich, not steel toe, then back up, calculating. "Well, I'll be damned," he drawled, loud enough for the table. The cavalry showed up after all. Lauren's head snapped around. The smile froze halfway to her eyes. "Ryder, you said Oklahoma job finished early." I lied smoothly, leaning in to kiss her cheek. She smelled like gin and betrayal. "Didn't want to miss your big night," Babe Hunter extended a manicured hand. "Hunter Brooks, we've heard so much about you, Mr. Caldwell," I said, crushing just hard enough to remind him bones are fragile. "But you can call me the guy who keeps the lights on around here." He laughed like I was joking. Performance for 90 minutes, I played the part they all expected. Quiet, slightly awed husband of the hotshot VP of development. I let Hunter talk about his $1.4 billion Trinity River project, like he'd personally poured the concrete. I nodded while junior associates asked if I could look at their deck next spring. Every time Lauren touched his arm when she laughed, I catalogued it. Touch 1, congratulating him on the zoning variance. Touch 2, inside joke about the mayor. Touch 3, fingers lingering 2 full seconds after the joke was over. I drank 2 Maker's Marks and felt nothing but clarity. The toast. At 10:03 p.m., Hunter stood, crystal balloon of 1942 Don Julio in hand. "To the little ladies making the big money so their hubbies can keep the F-150s paid off and the Yetis full of cold beer." The table roared. A partner slapped me on the back like we were in on the joke together. Lauren's face went crimson, but she lifted her glass with the rest. I waited until the laughter crested, then stood and tapped my knife against my glass. The sound cut through the night like a .338 Lapua. "Actually," I said, voice carrying to the far railing where the valet guys were pretending not to listen, "that Trinity River deal Hunter's so proud of. My family office provided the $400 million mezzanine piece that saved his ass when the Chinese sovereign fund bailed last September. Remember that week you aged 10 years, Hunter? Dead." Silence Hunter's tan looked suddenly jaundice under the string lights. "I'm sorry. Who did you say you were?" I reached into the inner pocket of the Tom Ford, pulled out the black American Express Centurion, titanium, not plastic, and flicked it across the white tablecloth like a playing card. It landed face up. The CFO, Doug McAllister, read the name embossed at the bottom and inhaled so sharply he choked on Wagyu. "Jesus Christ, R.J. Caldwell, Caldwell Capital. You could have heard a diamond drop the reckoning." I didn't raise my voice, never had to see. "Lauren told y'all I swing a hammer for a living because that's the version that made her feel better about the late nights. Easier than admitting her husband could buy this hotel, the firm, and every soul on this rooftop before the creme brulee arrives." I turned to Hunter. His mouth was actually open. I started moving money into Texas real estate when you were still shotgunning Natty Light at SMU, Hunter. I just prefer wearing boots to Ferragamos. Keeps the ego manageable. A woman at the next table whispered, and that's the ghost partner. Holy shit, I looked at Lauren. Tears had already carved black rivers through her makeup. You let him put his hand on you like you were his, I said quietly. In front of 200 people who now know exactly who I am. That's a choice, Sweetheart Hunter found his voice. Look, there's obviously some misunderstanding. None, I cut in. Your resignation hits my desk by 9 tomorrow. Or Monday morning, every lender you've ever met gets a phone call from me personally. And Hunter, that non-disparagement you love quoting. Page 17, paragraph 4. I can waive it whenever I damn well please. I placed a crisp 100 on the bar for the 2 bourbons, kissed Lauren on the forehead like she was someone I once knew in another life, and spoke loud enough for the entire rooftop. Enjoy the view, y'all. Last night, any of you get to look down on anybody from it. The elevator down the ride to the lobby took 23 seconds, long enough for my phone to explode. Unknown number, Mr. Caldwell, Doug McAllister, whatever you need, sir. Unknown number, this is Governor Abbott's chief of staff. The governor would love to. Unknown number, RJ, it's your cousin at Goldman. You just tanked HB Capital stock 14% after hours. Call me, I silenced it. The valet brought my truck, matte black 2024 Ford Raptor, lifted just enough to make people think I actually work for a living. I tipped him $500 and told him to keep the change. The ranch, I drove north on I-35 until the skyline disappeared, then turned west on a Calichet road that doesn't appear on Google Maps. 45 minutes later, the gate swung open, retinal scan nobody knows I installed, and I rolled up the half-mile drive to the house Lauren thinks is sweet but small. 10,000 square feet of limestone and glass, a basement gun vault the size of most people's living rooms, and a helicopter pad she's never seen because I keep the Huey hangared in Oklahoma under a different LLC. I poured 3 fingers of Pappy 23, sat on the porch and watched a storm roll in from the west. Lightning stitched the sky over land my grandfather bought for $17 an acre. Now it's worth $17,000. Same dirt. Different eyes looking at it, Lauren's Cayenne came screaming up the drive at 1:14 a.m., gravel flying like buckshot. She stumbled out in 4-inch heels, and that emerald dress now wrinkled and tear-stained. Ryder, baby, please, I didn't stand up. Why didn't you ever tell me? She sobbed. I sipped the bourbon because I wanted to see who you'd choose when the money and the power were on the other side of the bed. She dropped to her knees on the cedar planks. It wasn't like that. It was just, he made me feel important. You were always gone on jobs. I was gone building the life you were pretending wasn't already yours. Silence except for the cicadas and distant thunder. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know you are, I said, but sorry doesn't unring that bell. She reached for my hand. I let her hold air Monday morning, 8:47 a.m. A courier in a Brooks Brothers suit showed up at my downtown office, the one nobody knows I keep on the 52nd floor of Bank of America Plaza. He handed over a single manila envelope inside. Hunter Brooks III's resignation letter, dated yesterday, notarized, and smelling faintly of fear sweat. Attached was a post-it in Doug McAllister's handwriting. Anything else you need, RJ? We're your team now. I dropped the letter in the trash, unopened epilogue. 6 months later. Lauren moved into the Lakewood house we bought when we were still broke newlyweds. She kept the Porsche. I kept the dog Hunter Brooks III, took a job running a strip mall REIT in New Jersey. Word is he cries in the shower. The Trinity River project broke ground last week. There's a new bronze plaque at the entrance nobody asked for, dedicated to the men and women who swing the hammers so the rest of us can stand in the shade. R.J. Caldwell. I still wear boots every day. Some habits are worth keeping. And when I drive past the skyline at night, Every light that flickers on belongs, quietly and completely, to the man nobody ever saw coming. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction, it's revelation.